Ryan?
I think we can wait a couple more minutes, maybe. I don't know.
Sure. Is Gabe here?
No.
Okay, and then Robert's here and Catherine's here.
Yep.
Okay. Waiting. Kind of in and out of my light here. Sorry. What's going on here? But let's see.
Going to.
Anyway, I'm here.
Hi, Gabe.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
Let's wait a few minutes for Ryan, I guess, to check in.
Irvin, could I ask a question while we're waiting?
Sure.
If it's not a question for you, I'm wondering who the best to ask. I need to know if a neighbor of mine, O'Brien, actually has a CMP box is on a right of way. He's given us quite a bit of trouble in the past with us connecting here to the CMP box. How do I find out if that CMP box is on the right of way? The road?
That'd be a question for Terry, but I think you might have a surveyor or somebody, a professional engineer, somebody check it.
Yeah. Well, Nate,
Nate
sorry,
Beal.
Nate has done a survey when my daughter built. So he would be the one to ask?
Yeah, Nate Beal. Yes.
Yeah.
He would know where the actual location would be.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Herb, I've joined. Sorry, I'm a couple
Okay.
minutes late. Was trying to find the link.
That's all right. Having a quorum present, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 6:04 p.m. Will anybody need to review the minutes from the 15th or the 29th workshop? I've read them. They look good to me. If hearing none, can I get a motion to accept the meetings for those two dates?
I make the motion to accept the minutes for the last two monthly meetings. Yeah.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Gabe, call for any discussion? Excuse me.
None.
No discussion. We'll call for a vote. Ryan?
Aye.
And Bob?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And Gabe?
Yes.
And me? I also, yes. So that's 5-4-0 opposed. CEO's report. I don't know if Terry has anything that he wants to give us tonight.
I don't have anything at this time.
That's fine. Is there any old business that, the old business we got to take up is the review of the Hawken solar farm and the Robert Anderson art farm applications.
Irv, can I break in for a second?
Yeah, I was gonna ask for taking one of them out of order if I could, but go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Terry how things are going and is the transition working from your perspective at this point in time?
I'm beginning to get a handle on what's going on and finding permits and things of that nature. Yes.
Okay, have there been any permit applications since you've been appointed?
I have not been aware of any new ones coming in. No.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you for the update. I just want to make sure things are working for you. Thanks for your assistance.
I think they're going as well as can be expected at this point.
Great, thank you. And thanks, Irv, for that. That
You're
was all I
welcome.
had.
Okay, if it's a point of order, I'd like to take the business out of order tonight. Marcia Witten's here, and she has a few questions, and I think we can get her out of the way fairly quickly, and then we can get on with the other two. Marcia, you are gonna apparently sell your house.
Yes.
And then move to the lot next door.
Right, in the same
Okay.
field. It's in the same
Okay.
field. Yep,
So the only sales that have been on that in the last 5 years or title exchange is to who? Anyone?
my daughter Lisa.
Your daughter Lisa?
I put
Okay.
an acre of the
So she has one of the
2.88
acres.
in her name.
And then the total lot size now is over 2 acres, counting the house that you are selling. Okay. And I
The
understand.
house that I'm selling is like 1.14 acres.
Okay.
It's being a small parcel is being added to the existing deed
Okay.
so that it makes it over an acre.
Okay, so when that title changes or that sale takes place, that there'll be the house, a little parcel that was with the land, and then your lot will be the other lot.
Yes.
Okay, what I'm seeing here, and Terry, if I'm wrong, I don't believe that you're triggering a subdivision as far as, going through the planning board. You're gonna keep retaining the lot. Your daughter is a relative, and you're just basically getting rid of one parcel in a
A
house.
small area.
What I'm saying, when you have your attorney do them a deed, that small area and the house will all be on one deed, one description,
A lot for the
the
house.
boundaries. Yes, all the
Yes.
boundaries.
Yes.
Okay,
He's
that'll be
already
one
working on
piece.
it. Yep.
And you'll have a piece and your daughter has a piece. I don't believe that triggers subdivision in the state of Maine. I think, unless I'm wrong, Terry.
I would say you're correct, Herb.
Okay, so Marcia, I think you can go see Terry
Okay,
and get yourself a building permit for your new home.
okay. I have to go see him? Go
Well,
to the town office?
town office, yes. Make
Okay.
arrangements and then you can get your building permit from Terry.
Oh, Terry, the town
The
administrator.
interim code officer.
The interim code
Oh,
officer.
Terry Burgess? Okay, so do I have to find out when he's there?
Terry Brackett, his name is.
Bracket, okay.
Yeah.
Terry, when are your office hours for Marcia?
I haven't really set any up at this point, but when we can, she can give me a call in St. George or leave a message at the town office and I'll call her back. And we'll set up a schedule that meets her conveniences.
Okay, so am I understanding it, the building permit has been, it's all ready?
Um,
Have you made one out yet?
Yeah, it's been applied for. Mo told me that, because I think that's where I was with the subdivision. So my realtor called and we were told that we needed to do a subdividing.
Okay, I'm going in tomorrow afternoon and I'll look for that stuff.
Okay. Mo told me, because we were texting, and she said that the building permit would be done at the same time. And that was applied for 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I will see if I can find that in the office tomorrow.
Okay. So I'll check first next week.
That would
Call
be,
the town office and arrange a meeting with you.
yes, that would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Terry.
Okay.
Okay. Let's,
So I'm all set. Why you leave the meeting at this point? Or,
yes, you are.
okay.
You're
I
excused.
gotta do that.
Just like a kid in school. You're all set.
Do I just
Okay.
X out here?
You can listen if you like. It's public
Well,
meeting.
I'm not sure how to exit. So do I just X out?
There's
Shut the
a,
computer off.
Oh, I see it.
a leave
Okay.
button, yeah.
The leave
Okay.
button.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for letting me, figured to keep her waiting. I guess what I plan on doing was redoing the Hawking Solar Farm first tonight, and go through their performance standards. And then any comments at the last page that we need to add for, to consider the new ordinance revision that they're going to have on the solar farm. I think we should take a look at that as well. Is there any other questions or concerns from the board before we start? Okay. Is anybody here from the solar farm tonight? Is Mr. Stairs here?
Yeah, I'm here, and I think Darren's on as well.
Okay. And if the board has any questions along the way,
Absolutely.
I can call on you to answer them or take care of them and the issues.
Absolutely.
All right. So this application is going to be for the South Thomaston Hawken Family Trust Solar Farm application. Is that the correct name? Get this down. And the lot page is map 12, lot 7-1. Okay. It's in an R1 zone. And did you have to get a DOT entrance review permit to go into that? Is that road, there's currently a road there.
Yeah, there's a, thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, Darren Stairs, Wood and Kern.
Yes.
There is a driveway entrance there now. We have not applied to the DOT yet. We usually wait until we get approval from you and then we apply to
Okay.
that. And I'll
That'll be-
supply your office with a copy of that permit once we get it, if they determine we need another one.
Right. Okay, well, that will be a contingency, if you
Yep.
don't mind.
Yep, very good.
DEP site plan review, that's still impending?
Correct. That's in process. We have a few more comments we're addressing with them. We just got them this afternoon, so we're very close, and we'll supply you a copy of that approval as well
Okay.
as a contingency.
Now, did you need an MDIFW site review regarding impacts on wildlife? I think we saw that.
Yep.
Already.
Yeah, that's
We'll-
included in the site law
Packet,
permit with the
right.
DEP. Correct. Yep.
Is there any other permits that I'm missing here for your, I don't think so.
There's the only other permit is it's a NERPA permit. It's actually included with the site law permit as well for
Okay,
the
then you're right
for the
there,
minimal wetland crossings that we have.
And that is in the process?
Yeah, that's
That's
part of the
pending?
DEP
Okay.
permit. Yep, they wrap it all together for us.
Okay, very good. What I'd like to do, as far as the board goes, I'd like to go through everything, and then we'll just take one vote at the end, if that's acceptable to everyone.
I guess, Herb, the only thing is I want to make sure I understand what the contingencies are. So will you read those back to us at the end?
Well, yes, I will.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I'm writing them down so I can. Okay, and the standing is the property is owned by, I guess, Stephen and Brian Hawking. And
The owner of record is the Hawking Family Trust,
Hawking Family Trust, yeah, thank you. You write that down.
which is, I just looked at it. I mean, that's the tax record as of 2020 at least.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So it's trust agreement, Hawkins. Okay. We got, next one is, the map is 12, lot is 7-1. Okay. This district, the property is in the R1 district. And the applicant's requesting to put a solar farm.
Correct.
Okay. Just reading the form, sorry. Says based on the above finding, the proposed use in this use is a permitted use. And that's yes. In the R1, I guess.
Irv, have we clarified whether we're talking about commercial, industrial, or public utility here in terms of what we're officially calling it?
That
I think that's part of that section
line.
3
Okay.
there. The proposed operation is
Section 3.
defined as a blank use.
Okay. I think,
I don't know that I have an opinion on that, but I just want to make sure the board had a consensus.
well, I was considering a commercial use this time. That's what the application said, that they want to use for commercial. I know they are producing electricity, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't think it's public utility either.
Right.
Commercial is fine with
Okay.
me. I just wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to comment if they wanted
And just
to.
so the board knows, we do regulate commercial properties. If there's any issues, we can come back to them.
Mhm.
Compliance dimensions requirements. Section V6 requires at least, they have how the well, this is how many acres? I gotta get my paperwork out. The solar farm is maybe
The
you can let me know.
acre of the farm itself is
The farm itself.
about 20 acres
Okay.
approximately.
Is it over 21 or should we use another number? Then can't be approximate. It's got to have a number.
Well, 20 acres is what I have.
Okay, 20.
Yeah.
Okay. And the
See if I
total
can
property is 85.
Correct.
Okay. And this section BC requires at least, I might have to look that up.
I think it's 3 acres, or it might
3
even be
acres.
less. Let me check.
Okay.
No, for commercial, it's actually 1 acre, I think.
Okay.
They have that.
They have that. So I'll put the
Yeah.
one in that column. All righty. General form standard campgrounds. It's not a campground, so that's NA.
Right.
Industrial use, outdoor storage, materials, products, vehicles shall be screened from view. That's NA,
Correct.
correct? Okay, off-street parking. There'll be sufficient spaces determined by the plan board. So, excuse me, I missed one of those.
far as parking, I believe there's no on-site employees.
All right.
And
That
there
makes
is
it one above-
adequate space, right, for any service personnel?
Right.
Correct, right. We
We have
have
a-
an,
A hammerhead out there.
yep.
So I'll say yes to that. I think that's. Well, one more thing here for a second.
Is there a,
Screen from
I
view, that's,
assume you're gonna have temporary parking during construction up there, out of sight of the road as far as possible, obviously.
Yeah, it'll be up near the array at the end of
Okay.
the road. Yep.
Great.
okay. Next one, F, this is not an outpatient addiction center, so we can say NA on that.
That's correct.
Okay. Conforms to the comprehensive plan findings, comprehensive plan does or does not recommend any changes to the zone area. So it does not,
Yeah, it does not.
right?
Mr. Chair, if I might interrupt, I'm sorry. I got the actual acreage, if you'd like to, it's 20.3 acres.
Okay, no problem.
That-
I'd like to have it
just-
accurate. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks better than 20 as you thought.
Yeah.
People
Very
think
good, thank
it's-
you.
Yep.
The constable also does or does not recommend any changes permitting to the use of this district. So it does not. It's allowed there. Based on the above, well, we don't have any, we will have it when we have a vote on the solar plan ordinance. But anyway, based on the above findings, this application does or does not conform to the comprehensive plan, and I believe it does. Any questions on that?
For me,
Okay. Now, if it does not conform to comprehensive plan, can any additional restrictions, conditions allow for approval? So that's yes, no, especially conditions. I don't think there's none on that so far. Well, let me put a yes there because we are going to go over some conditions at the end.
Mhm.
Okay. Land use findings, section 4, G, special exemption, land use. Additional conditions the planning board may incur to carry out the purpose of special exemption procedures required additional conditions, specifications into their neighborhood and locations. Such conditions may include but not limited to. I'd like to take them up at the end when we do the questions that the board has had. So the C notes I'll put there. Okay. Increased setback use requires setback of property lines. So property lines, I think we'd like to have 50 feet.
Mhm.
Yes, we have, I think the closest we get with any with any of the panels is 72 or 75 feet.
Okay.
There's
so
nothing closer than 50.
Okay. you said
So
50 feet
Irv?
in there. Yes.
I would like to make that a condition, the 50 feet. I mean, it's consistent with the solar ordinance, but we don't have the solar ordinance yet, and our existing ordinance does not have a setback.
Okay. I have
So
it
that
here.
would be the first condition based on that ordinance.
Okay. Setback from the road. How far? And
About 1,500 feet from the road to the
1,500.
nearest panels. Yeah.
Okay. And from bodies of water? I don't really think there's any,
There aren't any bodies of water
no, none of
on
them.
the
So,
property.
okay.
Not nearby any. Well,
No.
the St. George River, but we're
Can you meet
thousands of feet from that.
meet the required your relationship to the wetlands is in compliance with the DEP rules, correct?
Correct. Yep. We're
Okay,
went through them for permitting and the Army Corps both.
great.
Okay. Conditional requirements comply with state, main setbacks, provide additional setback from any dwelling existing at the time, permit totaling, and I think we'd have to say at least 50 feet on that.
Yeah, that's not a problem. There's no houses near us.
I don't think so. Thank you.
Over 1,000 feet.
Okay, relevant boundary lines will be clearly marked by a licensed surveyor.
Yep.
Okay, yes. Okay. There's no sewage, there's no impact. Groundwater, correct?
Correct. No impact.
No, none. Okay. Moving on to part C. Operations will not be visible. Correct, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it makes sense to add that as a condition, even though we believe they won't be visible.
Okay,
Just so we have it in there. I don't think they'll have a problem meeting that condition because they're so far from the road, but
just remind me at the end on the last page and I'll stick all that in there.
sure.
Sure, yep, that's no problem. Okay. Operation equipment storage visible from adjacent dwellings, fencing, landscaping, screening, trees, shrubs, or other berms will be installed. I guess if needed.
Yeah, there won't be any outside storage on the
No outside storage,
project.
and the project will basically be screened,
Yeah, there's woods all around.
woods all around.
So,
Okay.
Irv, at this, I'm not sure that it's appropriate for this section of our performance standards because the fence is not for the purpose of a visual screen. But I do want to be sure we have the conditional requirement of the fence. And it's
Okay.
not for safety purpose, or sorry, not for visual screening purposes, but for safety and access. I
Okay,
don't know where we want to record that. I mean,
we'll put on the last page, and I'll
Okay.
get with Terry on all these
Yeah,
okay.
a little later. Landscaping, you're gonna keep it mowed?
Yes, yep, it's all maintained within the fence, within the array, and then it's natural outside that.
Okay. Types of sort of limited scope of applications, creep scope required, new permit. Okay, if you change anything,
I actually have a question about the landscaping, and I don't know if it's is that all right, Irv?
yes,
Ask a question. The question just about the seed mix. I understand you have a conservation seed mix specified, but I was wondering if you'd be willing to commit to using actual Maine native plants to reseed areas that you have disturbed.
Definitely, yep. Yeah, I think I can double check the mix we use there. I think it's all. Are you asking for a certain type of mix, or I think everything we're using there is
Not in particular, but I would ask that that native plants be used just to preserve the continuity of habitat there in between the two rivers. if
Ben, do you want to
possible.
talk to that at all?
Yeah, I believe our seed mix is all local natives, but we'd be happy to have that as a condition of approval and then have to demonstrate that to the board prior to pulling a building permit or something.
I would appreciate that condition if the board is in, if the board agrees.
they agree, I agree. I put that on, I've written it in the space, but we're talking about, it's gonna be mowed, and you want a native plants and a grass mix, and I don't really know exactly what the
Yeah, I don't know what the species are either,
species, yes, that's the word.
but I think that as long as we have a commitment from the applicant for that, I think that's great. And it would be great to have on record what you did actually plant. So I think it's nice to have it in the approval.
Excuse me.
And
Uh,
and when we say mowed, they don't mow it. They do let it grow up. It's mowed a couple times a year. It's not like a front lawn kind of mode, which is
No, we
better.
understand.
Honestly, it's better for habitat that way that
Yeah.
you let it grow up a little bit.
Well, we
It's
should
just
say
mode for maintenance.
field mode, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Like I say, if you make any changes, you'll have to come back for a new permit.
Yep.
Staffing there will be just your service people, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, as needed, they visit the site. It's not regularly manned.
Yes, sir.
And the local emergency services will have contact information and all that stuff for
Okay.
whoever's responsible.
Yeah, I think we will. I don't know where that's going to be, but there will be a condition about just making sure all of the as-built get filed. with the emergency services, et cetera.
Okay, security, there'll be a security fence.
Yes.
This is probably a place to put that. It's a 7-foot tall security fence, correct, gentlemen?
That's correct.
So I'd like that to be a condition, or
Okay.
Yeah.
the right spot.
And a sign and the appropriate signage on the fence. I think it's in the drawings. It specifies the owner of the facility, the operator, and the contact information.
Contact information. Yep.
Okay. And I guess lighting. You need any lighting out there? You're gonna have
No lighting is
No
proposed.
lighting.
Yep.
no lighting. Okay. I guess the hours of operation will be 24/7, 365
When the sun's shining.
when the sun's shining, right? Okay. So we'll say. So I'm gonna say here. Okay. So we've all established there's no lighting. So NA on that. Down below. Signs, sure, movement, security. So there'll be security signs.
Yes. Yep. They're required by code.
Okay. And that will have contact information for,
Go ahead,
well,
Ben.
I can get to that, I guess, at the end.
Yep.
All right. Noise. So there's really, and no noise there. That's, I understand from the public hearing.
Right. Not detectable from the adjacent properties.
Okay,
Nothing above ambient.
okay.
Outside of like the construction period, of course.
We understand that, yeah.
Right. Except for construction.
Mm.
Good point.
Okay. Okay, optionals does not create emissions of dust or dirt beyond the property line. This may require resurfacing or of the access road, use of water or tenting to mitigate dust and to halt operations if the wind direction speed is not favorable. So if you have a lot of dust up there, you need to wet the road down while you're working there.
Yeah. So we have notes like that cover that in our conditions or in our plans.
Okay.
Dust control and erosion control.
Okay, vibration. There's not going to be any, just construction.
Just construction, correct?
Okay, applicant or agent will notify the CEO a minimum of 10 days prior to any, I guess, I get like noise, vibration. I guess before you start, you might want to notify the CEO 10 days ahead.
Sure.
Construction, I
So there'll
think you
be
could
no-
just say construction operations on that, or
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there any other operational nuisance noted that we should? I don't have any myself.
it's not in a position to create any glare, I don't think so.
Okay. I'll put that down anyway. Okay, real protection access. Operation will be limited to, you may have to get in there at night. That's the only thing.
I don't know that we need to limit
No, we don't
regular
think.
operation, but I don't know if we have concerns about construction.
No, I think I'd say NA on that. Okay, safe access to the site, the public will be restricted and controlled. That would be a yes, right?
Yes, yep.
Okay. Adequate capacity on other roads. I don't think that would be a NA on that. I don't think that would affect any, the traffic on 131. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, right. Just an occasional service truck when as needed. It's pretty minimal.
Okay.
No regular employees or anything.
Let's see. Okay, so. Adding of driveways. I would say,
I do have a question on that. I know that you guys are getting the road permitted and it was pre-existing. Did you guys have to ask? I think this is referring to additional curb cuts. Was there anything you did with DOT for a curb cut off of 131, or was it just considered grandfathered since that road was there?
Well, I haven't contacted the DOT yet, so I will do that one. Usually once we get this approval, I'll contact them. They make me go stake where I want the entrance to be, and then they determine if there's an existing permit there now or if I need to get a new one. And I have to show site distances and all that stuff to them. So
okay,
I haven't done that yet.
Okay, I'm going to say yes on that, and we're going to be checking with the DOT.
Yeah, and typically you would condition us to provide you a copy of that permit, which I would do. I would send to your CEO for the access permit.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Professional safe operations consistent with the proposed use. You'll need your licenses and approvals, right? So.
Mhm.
Professional safe operation system with the proposed use. All other approvals. And I'm not real familiar with the licensing of a solar farm.
Well, Ben can speak to the agreements we have to have from the utility if
Okay.
that's what it's talking about. So those are in process. I'm not sure if you have an update on that, Ben.
Yeah, our project has been reviewed by CMP, and we have a signed interconnection agreement in place. So we have permission to put power on the grid for this project, which is the big approval that we need from CMP. So we still need to pay them for it and have them complete some upgrades to the system for that. But that's all that's required from them.
Very good. If there is any other thing, I know you got to do your permitting and so forth. South Thomas charges will verify site access is adequate.
Mhm.
So that will be a yes. You have to see the fire chief for that.
I think that's just a copy of probably just a copy of the proposed road
Right.
and the location of the gates and the method of access and stuff like that. It's probably what he'll need to see.
Let's see, yeah.
The
There'll be a
fire chief.
turnaround up there somewhere.
Yep.
To accommodate a truck.
Yeah,
I think
before
that's
the gate.
basically they look for
Yeah.
that.
I see it there.
There's no sewage facilities, so that's NA.
Correct.
Okay.
So on the fire department access, I just want to specify we will get them maps and show them access. Is it or is it not the expectation that the fire department will have the ability to de-energize the system, i.e. cut it from the grid? I'm not sure if that's something that only the utility or the owner can do or something we would need to be able to do.
There is a remote shutoff that the fire department will have access to. Something that we always do on these projects is once the project is built and before we energize it, we'll do a first responder training and show the fire and police departments how to shut it off happy to have that as a condition in here as well. But
Drainage,
there is
okay.
a remote shut-off switch for the facility, and the first responders will have access to that.
Okay,
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Is that clear to you for the form, Irv?
yes, I'm doing it right now.
Thanks.
Okay.
Hey.
And we're not finished with that yet, but I just want to look at the next one. Okay. Okay, now, conditional requirements. I brought some up the other night. I don't know if the board has any more. I can review them with you now. That would be appropriate.
Mhm.
These were taken from the new solar ordinance that it's going to be voted on. And I think you comply with most of it. And so the project is in R1 district. Correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
Project is considered commercial use versus industrial use.
Correct.
Commercial use. All right. Solar panel structures not to exceed 25 feet in height.
Yep. They will not.
Okay. Minimum setback, we agreed at 50 feet.
Mhm.
Yep. No problem.
Solar panels must be buffered from roads or residents by plantings, berms, or other natural topographical features.
Yep.
Just
They
to
will.
specify on the setbacks, that's 50-foot setback to structures or to the panels.
To the property line.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a distance
Property.
between the property line, and just want to make sure it's not limit of work, as I think we've got some tree clearing.
Yeah, I think it's permanent structure, I would say.
Okay.
Right. In our fence, I assume, can be within that setback.
Yes.
Correct. That's not
Fence
really a
would be-
structure. It's just a 7-foot fence. Yep.
I
Yeah,
just
so-
can't
Wanted to
take it
clarify
back
that.
from other people's property about 50 feet. And you said you had 72. So
To this panels, yeah, to the
To the
structures.
panel. Okay, yeah. All right. Solar panels must be buffered from roads and residents by plantings, berms, other natural topographic features. I think I covered that.
Yep.
Okay. Project's going to be protected by a perimeter fence, and we said 7 feet.
Yep.
Signs affixed to the fence to identify the owner, emergency contact information.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, emergency service, electrical schematic, site plan to be given to South Thompson Fire Chief upon request with shutdown of systems clearly marked.
Yes.
So we need a plan for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Will
Okay.
do.
I think that should be an as-built.
Yep.
As built.
Yeah, just so it's not, in case something moves a little bit during construction, they should have the latest drawing.
Okay.
I think that's important and agree with that, Gabe.
Okay, I tacked that on there. Number 9, solar will maintain a good condition, including painting, structural repairs, vegetation control, and security measures.
Yes. No problem there.
Okay. The solar operator will maintain access road acceptable to South Thompson Fire Chief.
Yep.
Agreed on that.
Yep.
Solar system will be built and maintained in compliance with federal, state, local laws, regulations, and ordinances.
Yes.
Okay, agree to that. Decommission and physical removal of installation should be carried out no later than 180 days after the date of the discontinued operation. The code officer shall be notified by certified mail of proposed date of discontinued operations and the plans for removal. So if you shut it down for, I guess for 180 days, or you're gonna shut it down, you need to notify the code enforcement officer, town of South Thompson.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, that's not hard to do. Okay, the removal. Physical removal of all solar energy panels, structures, equipment, security barriers, transmission lines from the site. When you decommission.
Yep.
Okay, this is gonna be all written in there. I'm just gonna take this page and attach it.
What is the time frame for removal, Irv?
The time frame. Decommission physical removal installation, we can make that, I know, 180 days, 180 days after discontinue, 6 months.
So just so I'm clear, I guess, or maybe Gabe, can you clarify for applicants, since you were involved? is it 180 days to notify us that there will be a stop and then another 180 days to execute the removal?
Removal will be 180 days. That's what they had in the ordinance.
Let me check that quickly. I'll get back to you.
Sure. I'll wait a minute before we move on. I have it here.
We would certainly appreciate having 180 days to remove it, especially if it's, you know, if
Okay.
it happens to shut down in the middle of the winter or something, giving us time to get it out.
That's essentially what I was wondering. I mean, I wouldn't accept longer than a year, but I also want to make sure that any stipulation is achievable, right? Like it's reasonable. That's why I'm asking. If you notified us on October, you might not get it out in 180 days because you wouldn't be able to go in there until May or June, right? So that's why I'm asking.
Something that we've done in contracts before is say 180 days, but if that happens to fall in the winter months, then it's extended by, you know, by that number of months, something like that.
I think that's okay. It does say 180 days from date of discontinued operation in the proposed ordinance, but I think we should just note that
Weather permitting.
weather permitting, yeah.
That's fine. I mean,
Okay.
those words are fine.
Okay. Disposal of all hazardous waste in accordance with local, state, and federal waste disposal regulations. So you got to take it with you and dispose of it properly.
Yes, yep.
The end.
Most of it's recycled.
Okay. Okay. Stabilization or revegetation of the site necessary to minimize erosion. Code officer may allow the operator to leave landscaping and below ground foundations to minimize erosion. So if you got concrete that you don't want to pull up to disturb the erosion, you can leave that.
Yep. Yes, we'll comply with that.
Feasible. Comply with that. Okay, the abandonment of the solar project, abandonment shall be made by the code enforcement when the solar project fails to generate electricity for more than 1 year without the operator first obtaining a written consent from the code officer. So if you shut it down for 366 days, 365 days, you will need to notify the code officer if you're gonna need to, get plans to fire it back up.
Yep.
So in other words, this is the part of the new ordinance and you're
Yeah.
proposing a stipulation, Irv, that beyond 1 year of non-operation, it's considered abandoned, right?
Well, that decision will be made by the code enforcement officer. So that'll be at the code enforcement at the time discretion.
Yeah.
But that's the definition in the ordinance, and that's related to the question of the bond for removal and just what
Right,
triggers the whoever is going to end up responsible to recover that money and perform the removal.
okay,
The DEP it's a similar time period for the DEP requirement too,
all right.
which is
Great.
what we have to have a bond
Now the bond,
for.
I'd like to cover that next. The proposed ordinance is asking for 150%. We really don't know what that figure is gonna be. The other night I got a little drifted. It would be enough to, can you elaborate on that for me?
How much is the bond?
How much?
Or
What was,
Sure. So we've submitted a proposal to DEP with a cost estimate for the project. I believe the amount that we submitted is about $60,000, which is based on the cost from a decommissioning cost estimate from one of our subcontractors. DEP hasn't approved that number yet, although they've approved similar ones on other solar projects. So that will be pinned down once we have the approval in hand from DEP, and we'd be happy to provide that information to the board.
and what is the yearly escalation on that?
I think it was Darren, do you know that off the top of your head?
It's not a set escalation. They ask us to evaluate, I think I was just trying to look that up. I believe it's every 5 years we have to reevaluate the
Okay.
cost of it. It's in their regulations. I'll have to look that up for you.
From my perspective, Irv, I think
Yeah.
that what we should have as a stipulation is just proof of the approved bond from the DEP. So just whatever documentation you submit to the DEP, just also send us a copy.
Yeah, that's
So-
great.
Regarding the bond.
Darren, can I ask, or Ben, who's the beneficiary of the bond? Is it Maine DEP?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anything preventing us from being listed, the town of South Thompson, on the same bond?
I'm not sure. It's a DEP regulation question. Do you know the answer to that, Darren?
I don't. We'd have to ask them. I mean, my guess is I don't know. We could ask. I've never done that before.
I mean, I'm more familiar with insurance policies, and you
Yeah.
can add additional and, named
right.
insureds, right?
Right, yeah.
I'm just not familiar with essentially construction bonds.
Yeah.
How they're labeled. I mean, I'm actually okay if with proof that you've done it with DEP. We don't have a ordinance yet, but I think we need to resolve it if there was any future, because ultimately I think they're asking us to have some control over that, and if we're not named on it, then we don't have control. They being the people that drafted the ordinance.
Yeah, and I think if you're if you see a project that's a little smaller than ours and doesn't go to the DEP, then that's when you're going to have to decide whether or not you want your own bond in place, because of the size of our project, we're having to draw a bond for the project to the DEP. But if you see a project that's just a little smaller, they would be under the threshold of that. So then you need to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. And I think, Ryan, to clarify the thinking on the ordinance, that is just there to make sure that projects that nobody else is requiring to have a bond is required to have a bond with the town. So
Except that's not what the ordinance
that's not
says,
exactly
so.
what it says. Yeah.
I mean, we're not held to the ordinance now, and I'm okay. I'm not actually, I have no objection to what being proposed here. I just,
Yeah,
But
but
that is a good point to
you might want
clarify.
to you might want to clarify that before you actually have to implement it on a future project.
that's more my point. So it's
Yeah.
a point of information more than to this application.
Yeah, I'll write that down, Ryan.
Okay. So I'll just review what I have so far for contingencies. And if anybody else, any more to add, and then we can, everybody's acceptable, we'll take it to a vote. Okay, on the first contingency is the interest review permit will have to be provided. The DEP permit is pending. The impact on wildlife, that we've seen that in the application. And the other was the NERPA wetland is still pending, correct?
Correct.
So those will have to be given to the board prior, or to the code enforcement officer prior to construction.
Yep.
Okay, got the Hawken Family Trust. Looking for any other contingencies, is commercial. Got the acreage.
I think the other one that we uncovered later was the DOT curb cut permit that they have yet to get.
Right, entrance review permit.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, that's one. So I had mentioned that, I think. And then, like I say, the DEP permit is pending. DOT permit is a contingency to make sure they have that, or release of that. And then the wildlife impact,
That's already been submitted, I think.
already been submitted. And then the others, their DEP NERPA wetland permit is pending. Am I correct with all those?
Yep.
And the proposed use is going to be a solar farm. Sorry about that. Okay. We got the name, we got the solar farm. I don't see the other contingency down at the setback from property lines is 50 feet. The setback from the road was 1,500 feet. Okay. And you're pretty sure on that setback from the road that you're 1,500 feet or more?
Yes.
Okay. And any dwelling will be 50 feet.
Yes.
Okay. Another contingency is going to be, it's going to be field mowed and reseeded with native plants and grass mix.
Yes.
Okay. And then staffing, service techs is needed, and emergency services. Security fencing, 7 feet high, and signage. There'll be no lighting, 365 days of operation. The noise will not exceed 65 decibels, and that's during construction, which is won't.
We're 1,573 feet.
73, okay. I'll just make
1573.
it 15. I'll make it 15, so you're over the 1,500.
Yeah.
Just want to be sure of that.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 days prior to construction, notify the code master it's going to start. No glare from the panels.
Nope. We try to absorb as much sunlight as we can.
Okay. And then let me see. Public restricted. Occasional service truck. Driveway's going to check on the DOT permit.
Yep.
Public license, public utility review, and you have your connection agreement with the utility. Is that Central Maine Power?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then comply with the state main guidance, erosion control, groundwater, water and fuel storage, and reclamation. I guess that's any kind of, there'll be no fuel storage out there, right? So I'll eliminate that.
Right, no fuel storage.
Okay. Groundwater monitoring, I don't think that's a issue
Right.
with this. Erosion control is, and reclamation, whatever it is, reclamation is one. No for sewer facilities, and we'll have a remote shut off and training for first responders.
Yep.
And then the 15 items that I mentioned, do you want me to review those again as well? The district, and I'm going to add that to our conditional requirements. These all
Yeah.
came out of is everybody set with
I think just to confirm that the only difference from the original list of 15 that you read was that we are requiring proof of bond held by Maine DEP rather than an
Right.
additional 150% bond.
So proof of approved bond from Maine DEP, and what was it verbiage that you had?
Oh, I just said, I think that's fine. As long as we get the proof of bond, that's what we need.
Okay, so that's the 15 things, items.
And I will bring
That is
up
number
that
15, by the
clarification
way.
on the ordinance.
Okay. Is there any other concerns from the board members or questions or anything they'd like to add to this or performance standard review?
I guess just one question while Terry's online as our CEO. I know you haven't been involved in this application to a great extent, Terry, but hearing what you hear tonight and understanding our performance standards review, do you have any concerns for this project?
Oh, I commend you for doing all the conditions that you did. I think you've pretty well covered everything that needs to be covered.
Great. Thank you very much, Terry. Appreciate that input.
At this point, I think if we have don't have any further discussion, can I get a motion for I can make the motion, either one, to accept the performance standards, starting with general findings 1, 2, and then going on down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So it'd be 1 through 7. And let me look for the last page real quick. I didn't miss nothing. And then the special conditions that I read off, the 15 items. I'd like to make a motion that we approve this for the Holcomb Family Trust. Is there a second?
I'll second your motion, Irv.
Okay. Then I'll call for a vote. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Ryan,
Yes.
Gabe,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes,
Herb's yes, so that's 5-4, 0 opposed. You can go forward with your project pending contingencies and your pending permits. And once you receive these, if you could either contact me or Terry, and then we can complete your application.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank
Will
you.
you be emailing us the conditions, the final approval, or just
Yeah,
regular
I can
US
give
mail?
that to you. I can
Okay.
get that for you.
Okay, I
I'll
just need to know
email
whether
to
to
the
go to
board.
my office and get them.
Okay, I'll email to the email that you've been, I communicated with you before on the meetings. Is that fine?
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just got to retype something, the proof of the bond on the last one. I didn't have that now.
Understood.
But the
Great.
rest of it will be all set. I
Excellent.
can
Thank
get
you
those
all.
to you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes,
all.
Thank you.
Darren, as a just point of information, I know the principal and I remember your commitment to our students over, well, probably either at any grade level, but perhaps especially at Owl's Head, which is our local elementary we share with the town over. I was wondering if it would be okay if I put you in contact with the principal there to see if there's any interest in developing curriculum.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, Ben. Actually, Ben will handle that.
Is Ben the right guy?
Yeah.
I'm the right guy for that, but I'm happy to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. I'll make an introduction by email.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you all.
I do have a question as well.
Oh, yeah.
Is are you developing a mailing to send to the people in South Thomaston about your offers?
Yeah, let me check with our community solar team and see if they have anything planned, but I'll certainly let them know that they should do that.
I think you'll find that there's some people who will be best reached by mail.
Definitely.
Yes, they are coming. I just got one in the mail today from a competitor. So
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Better get on it, Ben.
Sounds good. Will do.
All right. Great. Thank you all. Have a great night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one is the performance standard review for the Robinson Anderson Art Farm. Is a representative from,
Hi, my name is Patty. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
I can hear you. Your name again, ma'am?
My name is Patty. I am Richard Rockwell's assistant. He is also on, but I'll be speaking to you this evening.
All right, very good.
Yeah, I'm just a voice right now.
Okay.
I'm driving, so I'm trying to be a good. I don't want to put anybody's life at risk here by participating in this meeting.
All righty. So we're just basically going to do the same thing that we did with the solar farm folks for you.
Sure.
Okay. And let me see, I was looking. Let me go ahead. This is the application for the name is going to be What are you gonna be operating under?
The Robbins Anderson Art Farm.
Okay. Okay. And this is in the map 15? No, it's in the R1 zone, excuse me.
Correct.
Okay. And the zone is determined to be complete. I would say it's allowed in this zone. Is that what they're looking for? What did I put on? Make sure I'm getting this straight here. Let's say yes. Okay. Okay. Now, do you already have a drive there that you're gonna be using the current drive?
Driveway, correct.
You're not adding any other driveways?
The only thing we would consider is making a U-shaped driveway for ease of egress, so it doesn't
Okay.
impact traffic or trying to get out of that driveway.
Yeah, but,
Okay.
just to Patty, that is nothing that we're doing now.
Right.
Yeah, we're
That's in the
using the
future.
exact, what, if we're gonna do anything with regard to expanding driveway, any additional roadways, curb cuts, we'll apply for that. Right
Later.
now, everything is as is, we're using what is there,
Correct.
and that's
All
it.
right. I'll call NA on that then. This does not call for DEP site review on this property that I know of. There's no restrictions there for your art.
I don't believe so.
I don't think there is either. Okay. Review, there'll be no impact on wildlife.
Nope.
So that's NA. On the project. Is there any other permits that you'll need to get, I guess? Environmental?
No,
Okay. So that's it. NA. If anybody has any questions along the way, please feel free to step in here, the board. Board is given jurisdiction to review the application of land use ordinance. Proposed use is going to be a commercial use.
Yes.
correct.
And to authorize use within the R1 zone, right?
Correct.
Okay. The owner of the property, or the applicant is
Rockland Realty.
Rockland Realty. Okay. And that's a deed or trust agreement?
Correct.
A deed, right? Or is it
Deed,
both?
a deed.
Deed. Okay. And the address is
130 St. George.
St. George.
Road.
St. George. Okay. Okay. The property is within the R1 district,
Yes.
and the applicant is requesting to have what we propose to do there? You let me know.
Basically, it's going to be a very simple process and operation of displaying local artwork for anybody to come in and look at and purchase if they like, or just to enjoy it. Very simple.
Art gallery, okay. I need to know. And the proposed operation is defined as an art gallery.
Yes.
Okay. Based on the above finding, the proposed use is permitted, is used, and it's going to be, I guess, commercial again.
Yes.
That's gonna be in the R1 district. Okay. You have, we found out from the last one, you need, how many acres do you have there?
5.
So you'll be using all 5, right? You gotta have a minimum of 1, and you're gonna have 5. And the
We
property-
will use all 5. Even
All
if it's
5.
people, yeah, we'll use all 5.
Very good. Okay. This is not a campground,
No.
No,
camping. Lights should be shielded, prevented from direct glare, adjoining residential property or public right of way.
Yes.
Down facing lighting. Okay. It's not industrial use, so there'll be no outdoor storage,
No.
product, vehicles. So I'll put an A on that. Okay. Not outpatient treatment center.
I'm sorry?
It's not an outpatient treatment center. You know,
Absolutely
like-
not.
Okay.
although some of the work that's showed there may be by the hand of people that are in outpatient treatment.
That's all right. All right, I missed one there, sorry. Off-street parking provides sufficient spaces determined by planning board to eliminate any on-street parking. So that will be a yes. And about how many parking spaces would you propose?
Under 10.
So we'll make it 10.
I think that currently the configuration of parking as it has historically always been could accommodate 10 or probably more cars. So I would ask you to put for 15.
15 cars. Okay, any discussion on that from the planning board? Hearing none, I'll move on.
Maybe,
Jason?
is this a good time to just clarify
Sure, anytime.
the programming of this facility? There was some discussion previously about different types of events. There was a little bit of pushback from some abutters regarding what kind of events you were going to have. What is the plan right now regarding holding events at this
Yeah.
facility?
Yep. The plan is to have an art gallery and be able to have a kitchen that warms, no stoves, no grease, nothing like that, but just to warm up things so that people can have, with regard to openings and the like, that there is ability to pass around hot hors d'oeuvres and be able to serve the kind of cheese and wine and cheese and stuff that happens along the peninsula and has for the last forever. There was a misunderstanding, which is a derivative of some clip art that went up, which said event center, and had some, I don't know what they called them, some like giant speakers. None of that is intended. No, it is.
Great.
It's an art gallery that will have. I could call it catered openings, and I would like also to enable that gallery to accommodate if somebody wanted to have a meal there or something like that, a private meal, something of that nature, that they'll be just like a family having a family gathering, that kind of thing. But there will be no concerts. There's going to be no hundreds of cars. It's an art gallery. The things that happen there are the materials that are there will be in the house, stored in the house. There'll be artwork and will be exhibited.
Yeah.
And it is the intention to try and create a kind of a disruptive a model where the artists are all invited, and that they set their prices and the farm will do a markup in order to support the farm. But it's I'm trying to create something that's very inclusive And I should also add that I'd like to be able to exhibit the crafts there as well.
I think the real question that I was just asking was about whether 15 parking spaces, if you end up needing more parking spaces in the future, you'll just need to come back to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if there was some kind of a temporary something or other, there would be permitting, and there would be there'll never be any surprises. But the day-to-day operation is as an art gallery.
Small and minimalistic, without a
Great.
doubt.
Okay, 15 parking spaces it is.
Okay. Where am I here? I think I'm down to. Conforms with the comprehensive plans. Finding the comprehensive plan does not recommended any changes to the zoning area, so it does not. In that area. Based on the above findings, the application does or does not conform to the comprehensive plan. I believe it does. I missed one, sorry here. Go back. The comprehensive plan also does or does not recommend any changes to the permit in this district. And I believe it does not. Is that correct?
I believe it does not.
Okay. Then, if it does not conform to the comprehensive plan, additional restriction will allow approval. Yes, no. So I think there's no other conditions as far as the comprehensive plan goes. Additional conditions, the planning board may carry out the purpose of special exemption procedure, require additional conditions, specifications, criteria, and standards necessary to protect the public interest and to fit such use harmoniously compatible, in the neighborhood and locations. Such conditions may include, but not limited to, conditions for the neighbors. And I guess we can get into no on-street parking, for example.
None.
Okay, I'm gonna put that down. I think there's plenty of room there. Okay. The property lines there, that's the house is fixed. So as far as the property lines, are you gonna go to the extreme edges for your event?
No, there's no new construction going on. It's just restoration of what's there.
It'll happen primarily in the house.
Okay, so we can, why don't we just make it, how big is the lot dimension wise? I got a picture somewhere. Something should be in there for that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find your plan here real quick.
Are you asking the
The
lot
dimension.
size or the house size?
Well, the house size is there,
Right.
but I mean, if you're gonna have, just say you're gonna be, I know that the fields are around, there's no structures from quite a ways around that house.
Correct.
So
The closest structure is the finished church.
the finished church. So if we said, do you have, what I'm saying is, do you have 25 feet or anything like that on each side of
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Well in excess of that in every
Why
direction.
don't we just say, we'll put 25 feet there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Somebody else's land. Okay, and the setback from Route 131, is probably, I don't know what that is, but I think it doesn't really matter. And then there's no bodies of water.
No.
Okay, and you comply with state and Maine setbacks. And I
Yeah.
think that setback is only 6 feet. All right.
I think the house was there before the road.
I'm sure it probably was. Comply with state main setbacks and provide additional setbacks from any dwelling existing at the time of permitting. And I'll put 25 feet. But I don't think there'll be anybody that close.
No.
Okay. Well, are you that, okay. There is, okay, now let's get down to the water supply, yes, as well,
Yes,
Yes,
okay. Sewage is a septic system,
correct.
correct.
And there was some discussion previously, if I'm not wrong, back when Mo was here, that there was some questions about the capacity of that septic system.
Yes.
Yes.
I did send on, Joe LaBranch from LaBranch Land Surveys gave that's a report which I forwarded on to Mr. Brackett today. And the conclusion was, as shown, the existing septic system is adequate for the change of use from a 270 gallon per day design flow to 224 gallon per day as calculated above. Thus, a new design is not needed.
Okay, great. As long as Terry, that document ends up in the file, I think that's fine.
okay. We'll have a plan provided. In the application. Or a copy of it. Okay. Okay, impact on the quality, groundwater. I don't think there's any there, just
No,
NA. Operations will be visible from, I guess, Route 131.
they will. But again, most of the activities will happen inside a house, so I'm not sure what that even means.
Okay, we'll just leave it there. It doesn't really, there's no fencing requirement. Equipment storage visible from adjacent dwellings. So you're not gonna have anything, and nothing outside, right? As far as.
Nothing permanent, no. I mean, there's construction right now. the
Structures are
construction's
good.
over.
Yeah, things like that. If you have something that it would be unsightly, I don't think that's, I think that's an NA question
No, all right.
on that. It will be landscaped, yes,
Yes,
mowed, mainly. Limited scope of application, increased scope will require a new permit. Okay, so we understand that if you increase the scope, you need to come back to the planning board.
absolutely.
Yes, yep.
Agreed. Okay, staffing. What do you expect for staffing? I know it'll be part-time, maybe, or a minimal.
Part-time, one person is probably all that's going to be necessary.
Okay, now, okay, let's say you have a little get-together and you hire a caterer and they have 3 or 4 people. So
That
we
could
might
happen.
want to put a little bigger, yeah. Why
Yeah,
don't
that
you
could
put
happen.
down about 6 people?
Please do.
Okay, that would be. They don't have to be paid persons. They can be, volunteers or things like that. But
You could tell them that.
Okay,
We'll pay them in food.
okay, security. That would be up to you. I believe
Yes,
there's no danger to the public.
No.
Now, your hours of operation, what are you looking at that doing that on that?
as we originally anticipated, it's going to be somewhat seasonal, of course. We were thinking 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the very latest, but we're flexible on that as well.
So you'd like from 10 a.m.,
Yes, to 8 p.m.,
8 p.m.
5 p.m. on Saturdays.
Okay, I'll just say, okay. Monday through Friday, 10 to 8 p.m. Saturdays will be to 5 p.m.
Correct.
Okay,
You know what? I'm going to ask that the hours be maintained consistent throughout, because in the summer, Saturdays and Mondays are very much the same.
Okay.
alrighty. So it'll be 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes,
Okay. And you're gonna operate on holidays, Memorial Day,
Yes.
all those days. So I'm gonna
Yes.
get rid of the no operation on holidays. Because those are busy days. Columbus Day. So yes, we will be doing that. Okay. Exterior lighting will be designed to be a safe insurance movement of security. By use of motion detectors, we minimize the adverse effect on neighbor properties, including glare and reflections. So downward facing lighting.
All for it.
Okay. Okay, signs will be used to ensure safe mood and security. So if you need to post a sign, a warning sign, a directional sign, that will be allowed. Okay,
Yes.
Excellent.
all right. And I don't know, like no parking or something, whatever you have to.
Will
I'll
there
leave that-
be a, are you planning to have a sign on the road there? You already have a sign, but that's just what kind of signage are you planning?
Well, what I'd like to really do is I'd like to put a sculpture someplace that's not near the, on the road. I wouldn't want it to be a hazard, but back from the road someplace. There's actually, there was a storage shed that was someplace off the road that is now a relic, a remnant. I can see an old foundation. And ideally, I'd like to put a pad there and two historic sculptures actually there as a marker. They're clam diggers, and I'd love to be able to, they're life-size clam diggers. They were done by Emily Muir's husband, Jonathan Muir, in the early 50s. And they were restored. There's two sets of them. And I wanted to put one set there. I really wanted to put a set there. It's two guys, they're like figures, they're both clamming. And they're really quite extraordinary. And I would really like, to me, that's better than a sign, but there would have to be some kind of a elegant sign of some sort, which when we get to that, we would make an application or submission so that it can be seen. But I would like to be able to, exhibit a sculpture someplace just off the road. It's next to the driveway up from the road, so that if you looked at it from the property, you'd see the river and the clam diggers in the same view.
Yep, I think the only potential issue with that is that there's just a 40-foot corner clearance requirement. So I think other than that, I don't believe the town has any restrictions on the books that
You're
might
correct on that.
affect that. So I think that would be fine as long as you comply with the corner clearance requirement in the land use ordinance.
Right. I think it will be a highly photographed spot.
Okay. I think, well, if it's an issue, I'm sure the code enforcement officer will be contacting you. If it's,
I don't think it will
I don't
be.
think so. I don't think it will be there. All right. Noise will not exceed 65 decibels to the nearest property lines.
No way.
Right. Okay. Will not. So say yes on that one.
Yep.
Okay. Operations will not create emissions, dust, dirt beyond the property line. This may require resurfacing roads, use of water, testing, mitigate dust, halt of operations. And if the wind direction, speed, not favorable operations. I would say that is an NA.
Correct.
but it
NA.
could be,
Yep.
yeah, there'll be no dust. I mean, you just doing a building,
That's
maybe the
it.
driveway. Okay. There's no vibration.
No.
Okay, none. Okay, and then I know you, I guess if you could let I don't know what the code enforcement feels. You need a 10-day notice on the start of construction.
I believe they've started construction, haven't they?
That's what I'm saying. They're already good. So let's say NA on that. I don't think it's a big a deal on that. Unless somebody on the board thinks we need to. add
Well,
that.
I just always say that it's really not construction, it's restoration. It's
Restoration.
yeah, we're not.
We got the correct application or permit for that as well.
All right, so we're good. Okay. Vehicle protection access, because operation will be limited to let me see here. I don't know if you want to put a number of vehicles in there or persons. I really don't think we already have the 15 car limit.
Right.
So
Yeah,
let's say
I think that's fine.
NA on that. Okay. Site will be restricted and controlled from the public access.
Well,
And
actually I'm
It
trying to
doesn't have
figure out
to
how you
be.
control
It doesn't have to be. People can drive in.
I mean, if somebody wanted to pull into the driveway, they could, but they wouldn't be
So
able to get into the house.
Okay, well, let's say NA. I don't think this to the property. I think that's what we're referring to here.
Yeah, I'm
So
not going to put a
DNA.
gate. I'm not going to put a gate on the driveway.
Okay. Okay, so right now, we do have adequate capacity on the road because you already have a driveway there. And I believe there'll be anything else there.
No,
Okay. Added driveways, you'll
No.
have NA right now.
Yep.
And then any licenses that are required or other approvals?
I don't believe so. I mean, it will likely be established as an independent entity, and as such, will have authority to conduct business, and will
Okay.
whatever the operating entity is, which is independent of the structure, is
Right.
likely to have to be established and
I don't know if I don't believe the Santos Thompson has any kind of a licensing for art galleries that I know of.
I don't know.
If they do, then we'll have to comply with it.
The
Okay.
the only other approval that I can think of, and this is something that maybe Terry would also chime in on, is just that given that this was a residential use and it's going to become a building that's open to the public, I would wonder about whether you need a permit from the state fire marshal and what are your provisions for fire safety, given that you're operating public facility now.
I would recommend that they contact the state fire marshal's office because it is likely that they might need approval from them.
Thanks, Terry. I also think so. So that's something that I recommend that you do.
We will do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't know if the board, given that construction is underway, it's a little bit of a moot point, but it would be nice to have a copy of whatever results from that interaction.
With the
If
fire
you do,
marshal?
if you do need a permit, for example, you should file that permit when you get it with the town of South Thomaston, I believe.
Well, if you need an inspection, we probably might be something like that.
Yeah.
Or they might defer that to the local fire chief as well.
Yep.
Okay, fire department access. Is there a turnaround for the fire chief? Adequate. Will it for a fire truck? I think there's plenty of room there.
There's plenty of room.
They'll need a T, like a T usually long enough to turn a truck.
Or just an unobstructed area that they could turn around in that's
Right.
not wet.
Yeah, there's a whole field, and between the driveway, the parking area, and the field, which will probably be further flattened or graded at some point. It shouldn't be a problem.
Great.
Okay. All right. All right. I'd like the fire chief to look at that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yep. Not at all.
And then you can report back to Terry or to me.
Yeah, part of my problem is the historic nature of the house, and but let's go through the process. and see what
It's
they
not the
say.
house, it's just the area that he needs to, if they just need to get in there with a couple of trucks or one truck.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah.
Take care of that.
that's all. Okay. Acton will limit activity and will comply with state Maine provided guides for erosion control, groundwater monitoring. There's no fuel storage
No,
on the property and any reclamation. So you don't need to do any groundwater monitoring either. So I X that out. So basically provide for erosion control and there's nothing going to be dug up or reclaimed on there. So that's
No.
more for the gravel pit. So I'll scratch that. Okay. Maintenance and inspection of sewage facilities, that's been completed. We just need some type of a letter on that or.
Mr. Brackett should have that.
Yes,
Okay.
I do have that. I'll put that in the file.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On file. Okay. Is there any other conditional requirements from the board that they'd like on this project?
Yeah, I guess the only one that we come up with was that we would like to know the determination from the state fire marshal whether or not a permit from them is required on this project.
Of
Okay,
course.
Yeah, that's it. There's a chance that they're gonna say it's all good, so we would just like to know how it turns out.
Absolutely.
And obviously, if there is a permit required, send it on when you get it.
okay. All right, last page. This one's, okay, this is, I guess, got one thing on the last one. Okay. So to review the application very quickly, 1 through 7. Roberts Anderson Art Farm. It's in an R1 zone. Zone was determined to be complete. I would say yes on that, I guess. There's no DOT permit needed, no DEP site review, no impact on wildlife needed, and no other state requirement that we know of, except for the safety. Perhaps give them jurisdiction to review the application on the land use ordinance. Supposed to be a commercial use in R1 zone, conditioned by the planning board. Owners Rockland Realty. It's a deed trust agreement for 130 St. George Road. And the lot is 15, map 15, excuse me, lot 11, okay. Property's in the R1 district. Absent Crescent Art Gallery. Proposed operations finds an art gallery. And use of the exhibit art, I guess. Okay. Which was middle of the planning board special exemption conditional use. Based on the above finding, the proposed use is be permitted as commercial and the property is deemed to be within the R1 district, District 1, District R1. 1 acre, more than that. Requiring at least 5 acres, the property is 5 acres, based on the conforms with the ordinance dimension requirements. Okay. So let me see, down here a little bit. It's not a campground. Light should be prevented direct glare on the property right away, yes. Industrial use is NA. And the off-street parking shall provide sufficient space determined by the planning board, and we determine that to be 15. It's not an outpatient addiction center. Comprehensive plan does not recommend any changes to the zoning area. The comprehensive plan does not recommend any change to the permit used in this district. And based on the above finding, the application does conform to the comprehensive plan. Okay. And then the next one is, if it does not, can additional restrictions be allowed to approve? We're just saying no because it conforms. Okay. Okay, special exemption condition, additional conditions the planning board may, in order to carry out the purpose of special exemption procedure, require additional conditions, specifications, criteria, standards necessary to protect the public interest, to fit such use harmoniously and compatibility in their neighborhood and locations. Such inclusion may not limited to no on-street parking. Okay. For this use, the state of Maine requires setback and property lines. We're going to make it 25 feet and from
Right.
131.
Yep.
Okay. So that should be easy to obtain. There's no bodies of water, and comply with state of Maine setbacks, provide additional setbacks from any dwelling existing at the time permitting 25 feet. Relative boundary lines will be clearly marked by a licensed surveyor. And I know you, I've seen you have a plan. The water, it's a well, and it's a septic system. Copy of the plan provided in the application that's been done. Impact on the groundwater, quality of the groundwater as a crucial requirement is NA. There'll be any problems there. Operations will be visible from 131, yes, and we're not requiring any fencing, landscape screening, trees, shrubs, berms to be installed. Okay. Limited scope of the application, increased scope will require a new permit, especially if this would constitute an increase in scope, and that was agreed. And I'm going to put, that's good. I think it's enough there. Staffing of 6 persons. Security, I just say, well, I can put it in there, be locked at night.
Yep. And alarmed as well.
Okay.
Probably put a motion detector light on for the driveway.
And yeah, okay. Motion lighting. Okay. Hours of operation will be 8 p.m., 10 p.m., 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday. And will that be on Sundays too?
Yes. Potentially.
Okay. All the holidays. And there's a yes on that.
Likely, yes.
Any exterior light will be designed to ensure safe movement and security by use of motion detectors. Okay, we had that, you meant that already. Will minimize adverse impact on neighborhood and properties, including glare and reflection. So we're gonna have downward facing lighting.
Yep.
Signs will only be used to ensure safe movement and security. And I guess you said you wanted to have a sign out in front to
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, yes, we would like to be able to identify the,
identify sign.
yeah.
Business. This form doesn't have enough space on it. Okay, Noise will not exceed 65 decibels to the nearest property line. Yes.
Correct.
Operations shall not create emissions dust beyond the property line. This may require resurfacing access road, use of water and other tenting, mitigation. So we don't have to worry about any of that. And it'll be shut down if the wind direction is not favorable operation. And that's going to be NA, because I don't think it's a very small project as far as disturbing the ground. Any conditional vibration requirements is none. We've already started construction, so kind of say NA on that. As far as a 10-day notice for the CEO. Vehicle pedestrian access, operations will be limited to, like, I don't know how many cars in a day, or I'd say, I'll put 15 cars.
At a time, I don't know what, through the course of to 10 hours, how many cars will
Okay.
come and go.
I'm going to change that to at a time.
Mhm.
Okay. The site will be restricted and controlled. It will not be. They'll be able to drive in. Adequate capacity on the other roads there, and that is yes. I don't think that will, 15 more cars on Route 131 will make a big deal. Additive driveways, not at this time. Professional safe operations consistent with the proposed use. Contact State Fire Marshal's office for guidance on that.
Yep.
And we're gonna, at the bottom, I put you have the need to and any need for a permit. Fire department access, yes. Like a fire chief's inspection of the, driveway, I guess.
Will that be the local
That would be
chief?
Yes, the local chief. Brian Calderwood. Maintenance expensive shoe facilities, that's been done. A letter is on file. And the other additional condition was what Gabe said, state farmers, we need any need for a permit. We'd have to be notified the board. Okay. Hearing no other requirements, I'd like to entertain a motion for items 1 through 7 on these application for a performance standard review. Do I have a motion and a second I'd like to get? Anybody want to make a motion to accept the items as read, I guess, 1 through 7?
I can make that motion. I move to accept the performance standard review with the included conditions as read.
Okay, very good. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Ryan seconds. Thank you. Any further discussion or comments from the planning board? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Ryan,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and Catherine.
Yes.
And Herb says yes as well. So that's 5 in favor, 0 opposed. And I wish you the best of luck with your project.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all of your
Thank you.
time and patience.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, Rudy.
Thank you.
All right, well done.
thank you. Yes, you're all done. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
Have
just
a good
need to
night.
get with the code enforcement officer on any of the additional items. And I'll
Absolutely.
also be getting also with I'll send him an email.
Perfect.
With what we did tonight.
Excellent. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome, Mr. Rockwell.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment tonight? I don't know if there's anybody here. Okay. And then after that is the establishment of any action items for the next meeting. I do not know of any at this time, so we'll have to, hopefully we'll know a little bit before the meeting. If anything comes into, as a code enforcement in his report noted, he didn't have any additional items for the board. So we'll have to update you on that once we find out. Nothing else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Catherine has made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
And Gabriel seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Brian,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Robert, Bob,
Yes.
and Catherine.
Yes.
And Herb says yes. So thank you very much, you guys, for tonight. I know it was a little bit long. Appreciate your patience. And we have 45 days if we've made a mistake here to rectify any issues.
And I hope to meet Terry face to face. I've never met you, I don't think. So at some point it would be nice to see you.
Okay, yes, hopefully we will.
Terry, I think real quick,